Hello students, today we are going to start our same chapter of business studies for class 12th, and the name of the chapter is directing. This is part second of that chapter. And students, our today's topic is Maslow's need hierarchy theory. A person whose name is Maslow gave a theory for the motivation while understanding the needs of the employees. And the Maslow categorized the needs of the employee into some categories. And for classify the needs into categories, first of all, the Maslow understand the need of the employees. Maslow gives a sequence of needs in the following ways. First of all, psychological needs. In psychological needs, basic requirements for survival and maintenance of human lives are involved. In this, Maslow involved the basic need of food, shelter and clothing are involved. The employee develop these needs for their survival. That is the topmost need of the employee. So, if any human being started a job, first of all, the human wants to satisfy their psychological needs. He wants the salary that satisfied their psychological needs. That is the first requirement of every employee. Then, after satisfying the psychological needs, Maslow gives the second need category, that is safety and security needs. Once the present day psychological needs are fulfilled, then people start thinking about their safety. They want to secure their future. For making sure that their future is secure and safe, there comes the second needs, that is safety and security needs. That safety and security needs are two categories. The first one is physical security. The second one is economic security. In physical security, safety from illness, accidents, fire, all are involved. In economic security, the person save some money for their future. Then, after satisfying their safety and security needs, the next need arises, that is social needs, affiliation and belonging needs. In this, employee require the need of love, affection, companionship, friendship. Once the psychological needs and safety needs are satisfied, then social needs arises. For fulfilling social needs, the manager create teamwork, arrange formal and informal get-together. With the help of these formal and informal get-together, they understand the other people and develop a social relationship. That is the social need. Then, after satisfying the social needs, the employee comes esteem needs. It means that in this need, the employee require respect and recognition. When the above three needs are satisfied, then people start demanding respect for themselves in a group. This need is more common in higher level employees. So, esteem needs can be satisfied through non-monetary incentives. Then the last need is self-actualization needs. This needs refers to realizing or reaching the aim of your life. Once the employee becomes what he wants to become, it means that satisfaction of his actualization needs is the last need of every employee. Suppose I am taking an example. If I am an employee and I started a job. So first of all, my requirement is that I earn a salary that satisfied my food need, shelter need and clothing need. That is my psychological needs. If my psychological needs satisfied, then I come on the second category, that is called safety and security needs. On safety and security needs, I want that I secure from illness, and I also want to secure my future. For this, I take insurance policy, medical claim policy, and many more things. Then my next need arises, that is social needs. In this, I need love, affection, friendship. So, in this stage, I want to earn that money that is sufficient for my friends, family, and spouse and children. That is called social needs. Once all the three needs are satisfied, then I come on the esteem needs. In this stage, I want that people of my office respect me and they know what I am, who I am. That is called esteem needs. Then I achieve all these four needs, then my desire is what I want. So, my desire is that I want to become a famous person. Now I become a famous person. It means that I actualize, I found myself. That is called self actualization need. I want what I want to be in the future. It means that in past days I thought I will become a very famous person. Now I become a famous person. That is my goal. That is my objective. Now finally I achieved my objective. That is self actualization needs. Assumption of Maslow and need hierarchy theory. First one is behavior of people depends upon their needs. Human behavior can be changed or motivated by fulfilling their needs. Generally, the needs follow the hierarchy, starting from psychological needs. A satisfied need can no longer motivate a person. It means that if psychological need is satisfied, then for motivating the employee, the next need arises. Psychological need no longer motivated to the person. A person moves to next higher level need only when the lower need is satisfied. Without fulfilling the lower need, the person cannot move higher need. Financial and non-financial incentive. For motivating the employee, there are two categories of incentives. The first one is financial incentive. The second one is non-financial incentive. The financial incentive means the reward or incentive which can be calculated in the terms of money is called monetary or financial incentive. The common monetary incentives are, first of all, pay and allowances. It means that regular increment in the salary every year. Many companies provide pay and allowances. It means that if employees work more efficiently, then their salary increases. But if the employee not working properly, that time their salary is not increases. That is called pay and allowances. So, if any owner give the chance of increment in the salary, that motivated the people to do the hard work. Then second one is profit sharing. In this, the owner provide an offer to the employee that is my target, and if you achieve the target, so the more point that you achieved above the target distributed in the employees. That point also motivated the people to do the hard work. It means that suppose owner wants to earn 1 crore rupees in a month, and the owner gave offer to the employees that if you all earn more than 1 crore rupees, Then the extra money distributed in between the employees. That offer motivated to the employee to do the hard work. That is called profit sharing. The next, that is co-partnership and stock option. Sometimes for motivating their employees, the owner give a chance that if you all are achieved that the target, then I give share in my company and you become the owner of the company. I gave 10% of share of my company to my employees. It means that my employee becomes the owner of the company of 10%. That point also motivated the people or employee to do the hard work. Then the next financial incentive is bonus. Bonus is a one-time extra reward offered to the employees for sharing high performance. Generally, when the employee reach their target or exceed the target, then they paid extra amount called bonus. Then commission. In this, the owner gives offer to the employees. If you sell 10 units, then I provide 10% in each unit. That is called commission. The next point is productivity linked with wage incentive. There are certain wage rate plan. For doing same work, a person getting more salary and the second person get less salary. It means that the wage is related with the productivity. Higher productivity means higher wage, lower productivity means lower wage. So that point also motivated to the employee for doing the hard work. The next one is retirement benefit. Some organizations offer retirement benefit to their employees for doing the hard work. And the retirement benefit are pension, provident fund, gratuity that motivated to the employee to do the hard work. Perks, fringe benefits and perquisite. That is very important. Sometimes company provide medical facility, free education to the children, housing facility to their employees, and they get the benefits are over and above salary. These are not included in the salary. So these points also motivated to the employee for doing the hard work. Then come on the non-monetary, non-financial incentive. And in this, money is not the only motivator. Except money, many other things that motivated to the people for doing the hard work. The first one is status. Status means rank, authority, responsibility, recognition and prestiges. Sometimes the owner provide a rank or status to their employee. That rank motivated to the employee for doing the hard work. The second one is organizational climate. It is the responsibility of every company that provide friendly environment to their employee. If the employee get friendly environment, that motivate to the work with the higher motivation way. But if the owner adopt negative approach, that time the employee do not work properly. So organizational climate play important role for motivating the employee. Career advancement. Career advancement is also very important for motivating the employee. For career advancement, provide training, increases the skills and efficiency of the employee, and that point also motivate to the employee. The next one is job enrichment, assignment of challenging job. Sometimes the owner provide a challenging job to their employee, and by offering these challenging jobs, the work becomes very interesting. And due to this challenge, the employee get motivated and do their work with interest and enriched. That is also a motivator. Next one is employees recognition. Recognition means giving special regard or respect. That also satisfied the ego of the employee. Sometimes the owner provide recognition to their employee, and that point also motivated to the employee for doing the hard work. Job security, providing security to the job, that is also motivated to the employee for doing the hard work. Employees participation, some owner for motivating their employee, they give chance to their employee in the decision making. They want that, and they give chance to their employee to give the suggestions in the decision making. That point also motivated the employee. They thought that they are very important for the company, and that point work as a motivator for the employees. Autonomy, employee empowerment. It means that giving freedom to the employees. For working in the organization, giving freedom to the employees, that freedom also motivated the employee to do the hard work. They feel like home. They do the work without more complexities. They feel positive environment. That also motivated the employee to do the hard work. Here one case study is given. Ram was working an enterprise on daily wages basis. It was difficult for him to fulfill the basic need of his family. His daughter fell ill. He had no money for his daughter's treatment. To meet the expenses of her treatment, he participated in a cycle race and won the prize money. The cycle company offered him a permanent pensionable job which he happily accepted. Which elements of directing is indicated above? That is permanent pensionable job. That is the element of directing that is offered in the above paragraph. The second question that asked in the question, by quoting the lines from the above para, identify the needs of Rahim that are satisfied by the offer of cycle company. So here point is given that Rahim was working in an enterprise on daily wage basis. It was difficult for him to fulfill the basic needs. It means that the psychological needs are not satisfied. So in this line, the psychological needs are mentioned. Then second point is also given, his daughter fell ill. It means safety and security needs are also not satisfied. So the second question asks about psychological and safety and security needs. Then one more question is that also explain two other needs of Rahim followed by above that are still to be satisfied. There are 5 needs. We already discussed 2 needs, that is psychological needs and safety and security needs. So we will have to discuss the other 2 needs, that is affiliation needs and esteem needs. Here one more case study is also given that you will solve yourself. Then the next topic is leadership. Leadership is a process that influences the behavior of the subordinate. It means that if a person behave like a leader, that influence the behavior of the subordinate is called leadership. It is a process of influence. The influence is always for achievement of common goal. There must be minimum 2 or more persons present. Influencing your own behavior is not leadership. The influence should be get the willing cooperation of the employees, not the forceful cooperation. In leadership, there is not forceful cooperation. There is friendly cooperation. Features of leadership. Leadership indicates the ability of an individual to influence others. Leadership tries to bring changes in the behavior. Leadership shows interpersonal relation between leader and the followers. Leadership is to achieve common goal, and leadership is a continuous process. Difference between manager and leader. Manager is always a leader because manager always influence the behavior of the subordinate. But leader is not always a manager because the people who are leading a group, that is not necessary that the person is manager. The manager have formal authority and the leader has informal authority. The manager influence the behavior that is related from organizational goal, but the leader that influence the behavior towards the achievement of formal as well as informal goal. A manager exists only in formal organization. A leader exists in formal as well as informal organization. Manager perform all the function like planning, organizing, staffing and directing. But leader performs only one function, that is directing. Different style of leadership. Leadership style refer to a leader behavior pattern. And there are mainly three types of leadership, that is autocratic leadership, participative leadership and free rein leadership style. A leader may use all style of leadership at different periods of time, but one style tend to predominate his or her personality. First of all, autocratic leadership, that is the authoritative leadership. Second one is consultative leadership, that is also called democratic leadership. The next one is free rein leadership, that is laissez-faire leadership. One by one, we are going to discuss all the types of leadership. First of all, autocratic or authoritative leadership. Boss-centered leadership. In this type of leadership, complete control exists in the hands of the owner. He centralizes power in himself, take all the decision without consulting the subordinates. He does not delegate authority. In this type of leadership, the leader gives only order and subordinates have to follow the order. Advantages. The main advantage of this type of leadership, that is quick decision making, provide strong motivation and satisfaction to the leader. Less competent subordinates are needed at lower level because they don't do competition, because they know that only decisions are taken by the leader, not by the follower. May bring positive result when great speed is required. But there are some disadvantages also. Leads to frustration among the subordinates. They only behave like followers, so always they are dissatisfied. Initiative level of subordinates goes down. Potential and creativity of the subordinates are not utilized. No development of the subordinates. This type of leadership style is suitable for uneducated, unskilled, lack of knowledge and inexperienced person. Company follow fear and punishment disciplinary. Leadership prefer to the dominant in decision making. And Hitler follow this type of leadership. Here, the second type of leadership is given, that is democratic or participative leadership. Under this style leadership, the leader consults with the subordinates and takes the decision with the consult of the subordinates. In this, he delegates and decentralizes the authority. Leader follows the opinion of the majority. He gives chance to their subordinates. and the majority takes the decision. That decisions finally or finalized by the leader. The main advantage of this type of leadership improves the job satisfaction and morale of the employees, improve decision making ability of the subordinates, develop positive attitude of the employees, that reduces the absenteeism, quality of the decision improves, leader multiplies his abilities. But some disadvantage also exist with this type of leadership. That is time consuming process. It may not yield positive result when subordinates prefer minimum interaction. Leader may pass the work to the subordinates and abdicate responsibility. Consultation with subordinates may be considered as sign of incompetence of leader. This style is leadership suitable for when goal of the company is increases job satisfaction and independence of the employee. When leader wants to share decision making with the subordinates, when subordinates have acceptable the goal of organization. Narayan Murthy, under his guidance, employee of Infosys were encouraged to communicate freely with each other and give suggestion. It means that the Narayan Murthy follow this type of leadership. The last one is free rein or laissez-faire leadership. This style involves complete delegation of authority to the subordinates. It means that in this type of leadership style, all the decisions are taken by the subordinates, not by the leader. The advantage of this type of leadership: positive effect on the job satisfaction and morale of the subordinates, maximum scope for the development of the subordinates, full utilization of potential and capacity of the employees. The disadvantage of this type of leadership is subordinates do not get the guidance and support of the leader. It ignores the contribution of the leader. Subordinate may not in different direction and result in chaos. Suitability: this type of leadership is suitable when subordinates are well trained, highly knowledgeable, subordinates are self motivated and are ready to assume responsibility. The difference between autocratic, democratic, and laissez-faire style. First one is decision making. In autocratic leadership style, only leader takes the decision. In democratic leadership style, leader with the consultation of subordinates takes the decision. In laissez-faire style, only subordinates takes the decision. Communication. In autocratic leadership, one-way communication. It means downward communication. In democratic leadership style, two-way communication. In laissez-faire style, free flow of communication. Motivational technique. In autocratic leadership style, the motivational technique is fear and punishment. In democratic leadership style, reward and involvement. And in laissez-faire, the motivational technique is self-direction and self-control. The next one is delegation of authority. In autocratic leadership style, no delegation of authority. In democratic leadership style, delegation of authority to some extent. And in laissez-faire, totally or complete delegation of authority. Focus. In autocratic leadership style, leader control all the group. Democratic leadership style, group centered. And laissez-faire, the individual centered. Role of leader. In autocratic leadership, the leader provides direction. In democratic leadership style, the leader maintains teamwork. And in laissez-faire, the leader provides support and resources. Growth and development of the employee. In autocratic leadership style, no scope for initiative and creativity. It means that there is no scope for the development of the employees. In democratic, there are some scope and they work as V style. And laissez-faire, there are many scope for the development of the employee and they work as U style. It means that in autocratic they work I style, in democratic they work V style, and in laissez-faire they work U style. Discipline. In autocratic leadership, they follow the discipline. In democratic, interchange of ideas. And in laissez-faire, self-discipline or control is required. Here, 3 examples are given that of all types of leadership style, and that is the base of all types of leadership style. With this, our video is finished. Now with the help of next video, we will discuss the remaining chapter of the directing.